Timo, over to you.
All right, good. Well, good afternoon again. So this afternoon, actually, sorry, now it went quite quickly. So I want to speak to you, of course, about the e-commerce landscape. Have a few insights on the regular e-shoppers' preferences and have a deep dive into some new interesting insights on Gen Z, which is a growing group in relevance in e-commerce in general. Coming from actually, and that's a little bit of background of these insights. I think this is now 10 years of Deliver.
Yeah.
We've been here since the start.
Yeah.
And for at least 8 out of those 10 years, we have been sharing annually insights from our e-shopper barometer, which is one of the largest surveys amongst online shoppers in Europe. Around 24,000 people in the survey in all European countries combined every year. And that creates great insights into real consumer needs and e-shopper needs and demands, and gives clarity on local differences in specific destination markets. So that's the background of the facts that I'm going to share with you today. Maybe starting with the regular e-shoppers. The regular e-shoppers, to be clear, that's the 48% of all the online buyers who are, let's say, account for 86% of all the online transactions. So it is the major group in all the transactions. Well, what is it that they want? Tell us in our survey. Actually, they want it all. But let's break it down in these 4. First, feedback that we give is the product at the core, especially now with more uncertainty about the economic situation, about spendings. Consumers become more and more keen on receiving the product that meets exactly the specs that they saw online. So the product is really a focus. I would call that back to basics. Then good deals. E-shoppers and regular e-shoppers are always on the look for a really good deal. Saving some money without jeopardizing, let's say, the pleasure of online shopping and of shopping in general. So this is one of the drivers behind the boom of C2C business, consumer-to-consumer platforms, because those marketplaces and platforms are a great way to save money without losing the fun of shopping online. The third one, we call that an authentic and lively experience. This is really about the rise of social shopping. 70% more or less of the online buyers have directly used social media in the past year to buy a product. It's rapidly growing, and this you will see is a relevant element when we dive into the Gen Z later on. So it's really about social media, social selling. The importance of delivery, last but certainly not least, we know that over 70% of online shoppers is indicating that they are on average quite satisfied with the delivery experience. But in our world, Geopost being a parcel delivery company, for many of our customers, and especially in e-commerce, we are often the only touch point, physical touch point in the entire customer journey, when the driver is in the front door, ringing the doorbell, handing over the product. So there's some quite clear demands from online shoppers here, and I will dive a little bit more deep into that.
Can I just pause there for a question?
Of course.
Can I ask the audience, how many of you are retailers? First of all, just stick your hand up if you're a retailer so I can gauge. So nearly all of you, fantastic, right? Second question is, how many of you currently are using social platform, whether it's TikTok or Insta or Facebook, and you've got your retail shop front on those platforms? Not so many. Okay, so maybe 30% of you. Okay, that's really interesting. Is that the response of what's important for e-shoppers of all ages, or is that the Gen Z highlight?
No, this is the generic one, so what we call the regular e-shoppers.
But you drill down a bit later on.
We will drill down into the Gen Z.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, delivery as the final point on that previous slide. So looking at delivery, again, when we ask what matters, then the answer is still the same. Everything matters. But looking into the search for convenience, flexibility, and the demand to stay in the driver's seat as an online shopper until the moment that you have received the product in your hands. That's of the essence. So real-time info on delivery, having several delivery options, the possibility to reschedule, we call that in-flight options. So to change the place or the date or the way a product is delivered to you. And to be able to select the day and the 1 hour window of delivery in advance. Those are clear elements that show the search for convenience, flexibility, and to stay in the driver's seat from a consumer perspective. Now that search for convenience has, of course, a next step apart from the logistics part and the delivery elements. It's also really about how you embed all of that in the digital journey. So AI, of course, is one of the elements that contributes to what we call hyper-personalization of the customer journey, which is really increasing the convenience because all the exchanges that you have as a consumer become more and more relevant and more targeted for your specific needs. And it's all embedded in an engaging content. And I will show a bit of an example there later on. But that means that also companies like us, I would say hardware companies with big assets to be able to deliver all those parcels, we are becoming more and more a tech company as well. Now maybe diving into Gen Z.
Okay.
Who are they? And I cannot see everybody in the room very well, so I can't see if there's Gen Z people in this audience. But
there's loads of Gen Z there.
I see.
They look very young, actually, most of them, except for you, sir, in the middle. You're definitely not Gen Z. But maybe the one, is it Millennium, the next one? Millennial. Yeah?
Millennial.
Okay.
So this is a target group born between 1997 and 2012, so roughly today between the age of 13 and 28. So I'm definitely not in that range, but my kids are. I'm a father of 4, 3 girls and a little boy, and the 3 girls are all between the age of 13 and 20. So many of the things that I have seen in preparing for this presentation and for this workshop, I recognize from seeing it happen in my own house, and maybe you will as well.
I've got 4 kids; they're all Gen Z.
Yeah. So then you will be able to relate to what I'm saying. It's 26% of the regular e-shoppers. So remember, the previous insights I shared was the 48% of shoppers that account for 86% of all the online transactions. Gen Z are already today 26% of that regular e-shopper population. So more or less heavy buyers with a lot of impact and growing, of course. 82% live in a family unit, family household, often with their parents still. That is highly relevant, and I will show you that later on, because this is also impacting their buying behavior and, for example, the shopping basket that they have on average. So I will get back to that one later on. The products, by the way, that they buy mostly online, the categories that they buy mostly online, these Gen Z, is about beauty products. It's about basic groceries. Of course, it's impulse purchases as well, often via social buying. But it's also non-alcoholic beverages that are part of this, and personal hygiene. So those are the main categories of purchasing. And I will show you a few examples later on, and they will be quite shocking, honestly. The way Gen Z shops, and this is one that I recognize from my daughters at home. The best way to describe the way that they look at their buying process is phygital. So they are really digital, but also very physically oriented at shopping and going to the shop. And there you see that it's more or less a third, roughly. They want to shop at their moment, at their convenience, and in their own way. So seeing a product online and then going to the store to buy it, because they want to feel it, smell it, whatever. seeing a product in a store and buying it online at the website of that store, or the third version is buying it then at another store online for either price or convenience or experience or other elements, but those are the main ones. So shopping my way. What is very interesting, and this is going back to the 10 years of Deliver Now, I think we are in a really, really interesting period in our industry, in e-commerce, but also in the parcel delivery industry as a result. Because 2 years, 3 years ago even, during these kind of sessions, we spoke about Gen Z as the generation to watch and the ones that would become impactful on our business. Today, I dare to say they already are, and they are even one of the driving energies behind some structural changes in our industry, and I will illustrate that later on. But just a few numbers. So they're no longer the future of e-commerce, of retail, they are also the present of e-commerce and retail. So a high number of them sell or buy on C2C platforms, clearly. Shopping directly from social media, especially TikTok. If I look at my daughters, it's mainly TikTok, and they want to buy what they see in a cool movie of someone that they're following. So that's really the way that their purchases are triggered somehow. The importance of the carrier brand, we'll get back to that later on, but also sustainability. Very important also, almost 2/3 of this group takes sustainability in consideration in their buying decisions, also online. So very relevant topic, not to be ignored, even for the youngsters. Now, just as an illustration on social shopping, TikTok Shop, really one of the rising stars in Europe at this moment. We all know TikTok, that started with the videos, and my girls have been dancing on those videos for years already. But the role and the position that TikTok is now taking in the European market is really changing and accelerating. It's a company that in 8 European countries combined already has 98 registered monthly users. So close to 100 million people monthly connected and active on the platform. So it has a huge reach and a huge impact on the market, and is rapidly growing.
Just so I'm clear on that, is that 98 million TikTok users,
yes,
or 98 million TikTok shop?
TikTok users.
Okay.
TikTok users.
Okay.
So it's the spread and the reach that they have in their community. So the numbers on the slide is the numbers in millions of registered users for each of these markets. The UK is not in there with a number, but we know that in the UK, 1 out of 4 e-shoppers has already bought on TikTok Shop. So it has already a share, let's say 25% of the shoppers is already buying at least once a year or regularly on TikTok Shop. And it is therefore by far the first fastest growing merchant in Europe, and changing the landscape, because there's 70% more or less of the products that are sold on TikTok Shop are what we call local to local products. So Europe to Europe. It's not coming from China. It's really sold on TikTok also by European merchants and e-commerce companies. So it is really local to local, and that makes TikTok a little bit different than the other big Chinese brands that are conquering Europe with products that come in from China and are being sold here. So here it's really a combination of products from China and products locally offered and sold. This also means, and that's an interesting element here, that when shopping online, borders seem to fade away a little bit, because it doesn't really matter if you find this cool product. At least for my girls, it doesn't matter. This cool product, even if it has to come from Poland or from France or Spain, they really don't care. They just want to have it. So cross-border, between those markets where TikTok has their local presence, very quickly we see that there's cross-border flows growing as well between those markets, simply driven by the consumers on the platform. And that means that where we come from, Geopost, being able to support this both domestically and cross-border is of the essence, because for us Europe is many countries on a rather small piece of land. But looking at the perspective of TikTok or other people from other continents, all these local differences and these borders are only complexity. So trying to make Europe one from a logistic perspective and a delivery perspective, that is actually the trade that we are in. So hybrid, yeah.
Can we pause there?
Of course.
Have we got any questions on any of the material and the data that's been shared so far? Any questions from the audience? No? Are you shy? Do you want me to throw this in there? And no? Okay. I've got one question. If you can go back one slide. If I was a retailer, I'd want to know, for all the social platforms, not just that in France you've got 22.7 million TikTok regular users, what's the number of regular shoppers on TikTok? So you've got a statistic there. In the UK, e-shoppers bought 1 in 4 e-shoppers bought on the TikTok platform.
Yeah.
Right? It'd be really interesting to get a map of Europe so that these guys can see market by market how important or influential TikTok is, just as one platform, in terms of generating sales volume.
Yes.
Yeah? And then splicing that, because the demographic, Gen Z users of TikTok is much, much higher than, let's say, Facebook.
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't bring those numbers today, but absolutely.
So next year, if you come here, DPD will share with you actual breakdown country by country of TikTok shoppers. Yeah?
That's a deal.
Okay,
that's
cool.
A deal. Okay, so the cross-border network. So our network in Europe, it's really a hybrid network, and that's important in also for Gen Z because, as I showed, they want to have the flexibility to select the way and the moment of receiving or picking up the product. So we really offer this pan-European hybrid network, which means home deliveries, business deliveries, out-of-home deliveries, returns via out-of-home, pickup at home to be returned. So all the flavors are available with, I think, the biggest and densest out-of-home network across Europe with 132,000 pickup points across Europe in a combination of shops and lockers. Around between 35,000 lockers out of these 132,000 pickup points. So we are the number one cross-border network by road. And 73% in general in Europe of all the purchases done at foreign websites are foreign websites within Europe. That's also, I think, interesting to see. Now on Gen Z, I promise you to share a little bit on the top selling products, and this is top selling products to Gen Z, so bought by Gen Z on TikTok Shop in Europe on average. So very broad range of products, from energy lip duo to portable projectors, apple cider vinegar gummies, but also, and this one was really shocking to me, I did not expect that one, big packages of 90 toilet rolls by Panda Cuddle. And this is translating that to my household with these 3 teenage daughters, or the oldest is 20, so this is really their role in the household. They do not only shop for themselves, but sometimes also shop for the household. And I know that if I ask one of my daughters to go to the shop to buy me something that I need, I can really expect the reaction, okay, I'm shopping online anyway, I'll add it to my shopping basket and you'll have it by tomorrow. So this is really a little bit the area where you are here also buying for their household, not only for themselves.
Just pause there for a second. So we've got some questions from the audience. First one is, what does Gen Z expect for a delivery time when they want sustainable issues as well? So what is their requirement on delivery, speed versus sustainability? And the second question is, how many TikTok users in the UK who shop will get that for next year, right? The next one is, how is the locker versus pickup point, so parcel shop, trending in the coming years?
Yep.
Yeah, so how is that mix evolving? Because my maths tell me you've got 98,000 parcel shops in the UK. In Europe. Yeah. And then 34,000.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
So the first question is, obviously, you guys all volunteered that you were Gen Zs, right? pretty much all of you did. So which ones of you buy Energy Lip Duo? No? You're backpedaling now, aren't you? Okay, so can you just answer the question about Gen Z expect sustainability versus speed?
Yeah. So sustainability, I think the way that we see in the feedback in our survey, and also in the, let's say, N is one in my own household, the view on sustainability is much more preventing this van from driving to your door and picking up the product along the route that you have anyway. It serves two purposes. It's sustainable because still the image of the van at your doorstep has the image of being polluting, although an increasing number is already electric, but I will get back to that later on. And it's the convenience of picking it up at the store. And the positioning online of the respective shop. If they promote, for example, a green slot for delivery, that will be more appealing to Gen Z than buying it on a website that doesn't show, let's say, the importance or the interest of sustainability. So that's more where they. So it's less nuanced, I would say. It's a bit more straightforward the way that they look at it.
Can I ask a question to the retailers in the audience? How many of you on your websites, just put your hand up, if you have if you label a delivery option as the green option, or do you just let the consumer, the shopper, decide which they think is the green option? Do you help them with that choice or not? No? Okay. So that's an interesting one for you guys to think about, is should you? Should you identify with the carrier which is the greenest delivery option at checkout? Okay. So you can bring that next year as well. Yeah? Okay.
We do see, by the way, and that started in DPD UK, we do see that we are offering this option of the green slot.
Right.
With some of our customers in the UK mainly, where we say, okay, the customer has the option to select 2 or 3 delivery options. And the one promoted to be the green slot, that is the one that is 2 out of 3 selects that one.
Wow. Okay, so you're already doing it in the UK?
Yeah, so currently,
fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And what about the, have you got a slide later on about the mix between locker box and...
No, I don't, but I can comment on that. Okay. Yes, so it's currently indeed the numbers that you mentioned, so roughly close to 100,000 is shops and 34,000 is lockers. I don't expect the total number of 132 to increase much in the next year and a half, but the split,
the ratio will change.
Shops and lockers will change. So we expect to be around probably close to 50,000 lockers in the next year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
So addressing Gen Z's expectations. So some of the insights shared, if you wrap it all up, sustainability matters to them. So that means how to address that, and I will just give you a few examples on how are we addressing that. That is our ambition and our target to be net zero by 2040, and I will show you a little bit on what that means in reality in one of the final slides. So reducing the footprint until 2040 with already a reduction by over 50% in 2030. The second is the flexible and convenient delivery options, so all the in-flight options, the 1 hour time window, the opportunity to, until an hour before the delivery, change the place or the date. And thirdly, because that was the third one, translating that to the buyer experience and the total customer journey. Having a consumer relationship program like we have built with our MyDPD app, already 32 million people registered, unique users registered in Europe in the MyDPD app, which is not only giving consumers control over the delivery and the in-flight options, but we also have developed an initiative which is called Singular, and more will be shared about this later on today, tomorrow, because this is nominated for one of the awards at these events, where we also offer discounts to buyers using our MyDPD app, and where we give them access to local and authentic local products in markets like Italy, where we started doing this pilot last year, a year ago. So also offering local products to consumers using the brand. So it's really becoming more and more an experience broader than only managing your delivery.
I've got a couple of questions, if I may.
Of course.
So what's at the heart of driving DPD to spend so much focus and analysis on out of home? Why are you relentlessly trying to understand and re-evolve and keep evolving out of home?
Yeah. For us, it's a necessity because in let's say in our future projections, I mean, no, you never know 100% for sure, but we are totally convinced of the fact that also by the rise of Gen Z and the more dominant role that they will have in the next few years is one of the reasons that the demand for out-of-home solutions from consumer perspective is increasing rapidly. And we expect that trend to continue to develop. So meaning that in the next 3 to 5 years, probably 1 out of every 4, 1 out of every 5 parcels will be delivered to out of home.
There's another question here on Gen Z in terms of returns, and is the growing prominence of Gen Z. I know from my daughters in particular, they buy 3 different colours or sizes and always return. They have a lot of returns. Are returns increasing as a proportion of outbound because of this?
We don't see really an increase on the total average. So you see in some countries a development. We know Netherlands is really a country for returns with 11-12% of products being returned on average. So that's quite high. But we don't really see in the surveys that we do a significant increase of that. And bringing that back again to like you said, your own household, my own household. My daughters used to also return many products that they bought, especially clothes. Yeah. But since they started buying more on the consumer platforms, such as Vinted, etc., they started returning less. And since they started buying more on big Chinese websites, they found out the hard way that they had to pay serious money to get the product returned, and then they didn't want to return it anymore. So we don't really see a big increase. It's quite stable.
Okay.
All right. So I promise you a few insights on sustainability. Not to go into each and every number, but what does sustainability mean in reality? Most visible part of our supply chain are the vans delivering the products at your doorstep or at the business address. So last year, 15% of the number of last mile vehicles in Europe was fully electric, which is an increase of 20% compared to the year before. So that's really gonna grow quite rapidly. It will be 85% in 2030. So we are not only purchasing and leasing electrical vehicles, but we're also bringing business units, country organizations together to share best practices, to develop charging initiatives, etc., to support all of that, because the charging is one of the main challenges in last mile delivery, making it electric. The second element is the line haul, and there the percentage of 16% is the percentage of the kilometers driven in Europe by truck, 16% on low emission. Electrical trucks, we do experiment with a few electrical trucks. Still very difficult to make it work from a reach, from a cost perspective. It's still quite difficult. But the 16% is an increase of 36% compared to the year before. So that's increasing quite rapidly. And then we're mostly speaking about HVO. Natural liquid gas, etc. So a bio fuel and HVO. And the third element is around buildings. Of course, buildings with solar panels and using as much as possible the low spend hours. And also in building our new facilities, we are taking this into consideration. So there already 61.5% reduction, which is, I would say, only a reduction of 7% compared to the year before. We are not building that many new business every year, so this will be a little bit more slow, but 70% in reduction in 2030. So looking at the total reduction, 2024, 5.4% reduction on a total emissions in Europe. which is, if you would bring that back to the parcel, it's around 7% reduction per parcel on average in Europe, because the number of parcels is growing. So despite the growth, we will decrease the total emissions. And for our customers, we have developed what we call the carbon calculator, and it's been presented at this event last year and the year before, where our customers have visibility on the exact footprint of the parcels that they have shipped with us, internationally and domestically.
Can I just ask, the carbon calculator, your device will automatically turn on.
Okay, well,
That's weird. Carbon calculator, is that independently validated by an institute or a recognized body? Is it your own construction?
we have built the carbon calculator ourselves, but we are working very closely and have been accredited by SBTi, Science-Based Target Initiative, on our roadmap to net zero in 2040 and all the milestones in between. And every year it's an accountants bureau, I think it's KPMG, that is auditing the progress and if we are in line with the plan that we have submitted. So we get green lighted, and all these numbers in the carbon calculator match with those validated numbers, yes.
Okay.
So there's external validation.
This monitor is going to switch off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 second, and it's gone. So we'll be looking at this now going forward, but we can see the time from that monitor.
Yeah,
over
that's good. That's good.
Okay, keep sending your questions in, guys, because I'm picking them up on my iPad. Any questions on any of the sustainability data, stats and actions that DPD are taking? No, you're all comfortable? Okay. Can I ask you a question? And forgive me if it comes later in your slides, but you talked there about the last mile and the continuous improvement. 5.2. It was 7. Oh, it's there.
Yeah.
So 7%, 5%. So you're sustaining it at quite a good level. Do you think that trend of reductions and wins each year will continue?
It has to.
At that percentage?
Yes, it has to. And we even need to accelerate again to meet the target of really being net zero by 2040 and having a reduction of 54%, I think it is, in 2030 already. So yes, it's a necessity, and we are investing quite a lot in it. So quite a relevant share of our total investments every year are going into this.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Good.
Which brings me actually to one of the last ones, and I think this is the last one probably. Out of home. We've been speaking about out of home already several times. Well, why is Gen Z accommodating this growth of out of home? They actually say it themselves. So these are sentences coming from the survey that we have done. I can pick up my parcel whenever I want, so it's convenient for me. I don't have to wait. Even for an hour at home. I'm in control of my delivery, changing the moment and the place, and is my favorite way of sending and receiving my C2C items, either to a locker or to shop. So that's the feedback on out of home. And actually on out of home, and that's my final remark, I think tomorrow morning at 11, my colleagues Florian and Hervé will deep dive more into out of home developments and relevant insights there.
Okay, I've got a couple of questions that are coming. One of them is more of a comment than a question, and I think this has come from the Geopost team, and that is one of the issues with highlighting a green option on a website. In the UK, I think you mentioned this, is that you become a target then to be challenged at how green is your green. So I think it's getting the balance right with helping it to make it nice and transparent and simple for the consumer to elect for that green option if they want to, versus becoming a target for some challenges about your green. I think so. It's about getting the balance right there. So that's more of a comment. You mentioned a simple or simply offer that's coming. You're in the awards tonight for something.
Singular.
Sorry.
Singular. Yeah.
Can you say what that is? I'm just saying because the voters are there.
Yeah.
It would be,
and they have to vote for this one because
exactly.
it's really
so. This is your chance to sell to this block here why they should vote for DPD this evening.
Cool. Yeah. So Singular is a platform. many of our efforts when designing this customer journey and the MyDPD app, etc., is aimed at large shippers, large e-commerce companies with high expectations and high demands when it comes to consumer expectations and consumer experience. One of the main markets, or one of the other markets that we're really investing a lot in, is what we call the SME market, small medium enterprises, because that is a very interesting market for us for many reasons. And to be able to combine things and make also the developments in IT that we have done relevant for the SMEs, we decided to also open up Europe and open up the audience to local and authentic product offerings in the markets that we have launched this now. And I know Italy was the first one, and I don't know exactly by heart which markets we are in at this stage else, but it's in a quite early stage. We started to do it last year with quite good results. So that means that in these markets we have 10, 15, 20 relatively small companies who have something unique, local product offering that we think should be offered to a wider audience as well.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so if you thought that was interesting, vote on the app for DPD to win the award this evening at 7:30, I think, in this room. So you've got maybe 2 hours or so to make that vote. Right, we're coming to the last sort of 3.5 minutes now. Have we got any questions from the audience? We've got something. Can I throw this at you? Also, I've been wanting to do this all day. There you go. So you just speak in the mic.
Hello. My name is Andre V, and I'm from the Parcel Locker Central. I do pretty much agree that the DPD pan-European network is the most densest and advanced one, but however, the company operates country by country, and that means that cross-border deliveries is probably not prioritized, or at least this is very highly priced. We're talking about 25-30 euros per delivery for C2C deliveries, locker to locker. Do you see any changes in that one, especially considering one other company is quite aggressively pricing cross-border deliveries?
Yeah, well, first of all, the reference number that you mentioned, I totally do not recognize it. So I have never seen a rate of 20-25 euros for a shop order or for a cross-border shipment in Europe anyway, and especially not to locker. Because I think it makes sense that delivering to shops or lockers has a lower cost price than to a door, because you deliver many parcels in one stop. So that's one of the drivers behind it. So that is also translated into our network. The locker network in Europe that we have is really like an ecosystem of owned lockers and third-party open networks that we are combining. And we are building up the network quite rapidly. So at this stage, not all countries are connected to all the other countries yet. When it comes to locker deliveries, for example, and that is something we are working on and accelerating. And in let's say in the course of the next few months or year, all these countries will be connected also for cross-border flows to lockers.
Okay. Any other questions from the audience? Can I flip it? Is there anything that's not been covered that you're curious about? This is your chance. You've got a couple of minutes to ask this senior manager at DPD anything at all about DPD. Yes.
Got it.
Well done.
I'm a retailer in the UK, and we have distribution centres around Europe. Some other of your carrier competitors have, I would say, more joined up international relationships, so single accounts across several locations. Is there any plan for DPD to move down that path?
Yes, we already are. So we have, and that's actually me and the team as global accounts. Of course, we cannot. There's a limit to the number of accounts that you can manage in such a way. But let's say the top 100 accounts, and I'm more than open to have a follow-up talk with you as well. But let's say our top 100 accounts is being centrally managed, where indeed one global account manager is overlooking everything we do together in Europe and also outside Europe. So we can centralize that whenever you want.
Okay, so I suppose just asking the follow-up question is, how big do you need to be to come under your cross-border support team?
Actually, we are focusing on specific market verticals. So
Okay.
we have identified several market verticals as being very strategic for our future growth.
Okay.
So then you don't have to be so big.
Can you share what those verticals are?
Yes, we are fashion and beauty is one of them.
beauty.
What we call industry, so more B2B.
Okay.
Manufacturing, consumer electronics is of course one of them. Mass merchants, marketplaces, which is also a very, very big one, a bit more transversal across the industries, but a very relevant one. Then we have the 3PL as well, and those are the main ones.
Okay. What industry sector are you in?
Musical instruments, music gear.
Music gear. You need to add music gear to that list.
Yes, done.
Okay. Right. We've got the last sort of 10 seconds or so. Any desperate question you want to ask him while he's here? Because you're on stand number
Which is the one? B10? B10, yes, sorry.
B10.
B10.
So if you want to carry on this conversation, Mr. Music, if you want to nail him, he's on B10. Yeah, and we've all heard the commitment to try and lower that threshold. Right. Thank you, Timo. You've been amazing. And thank you for your honesty. Yeah. Thank you, the Reds. The Red team won, I think. Yeah. So well done to
Thank
you.
you all.
Take your part.